Maple fusion, sounds of our history. How has music helped shape the past of Lethbridge's streets? Quirky and bold, with a weekend and blend. Pull up the chair, let the tale begin.
I'm Shelley Kay with Maple Fusion, Sounds of Our History, and today we're diving into the electrifying world of Clover Overboard, a Lethbridge Celtic rock with a wee touch of a punk edge band that was formed in 2022 right here in Lethbridge. Alexana is on vocals and rhythm guitar. Megan is lead guitar and a wicked cajon player. Lindsay is on drums, Alina and violin, and Keely on bass. These five bring a mix of backgrounds and influences from Russia to Newfoundland to Lethbridge into a sound that's both energetic and heartfelt. Their music includes signals like Jack and Finnegan and the emotionally charged Hurricanes, which captures themes of resilience and heritage and personal strength. Pull up a chair. You'll not want to miss this episode. Today, I've got an episode for you. I am joined today by
Meg.
And I'm Alexanne.
And we're Clover Overboard.
Maple Mixers. Before we dive deep, let's have a little fun. Do some Maple Mixers and get to know each other. So this game is little cards, and it's what would you choose? You develop a serious allergy to your favorite food, or you develop a crippling fear of all animals.
Oh no. I'd probably go with favorite food because I have a lot of favorite foods.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay.
Which would you choose? You can receive text messages but cannot send them. Or you can send text messages but cannot receive them.
Oh God, okay. What would be better on my anxiety? I would rather receive texts and be able to read them than just be sending random messages out into the ether and hoping I get somehow they contact me. Yeah, definitely going with that one.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay, Vic, your turn.
Okay. This question's for you, Shelley. Which would you choose? You can never eat again, or you can never sleep again.
Oh my
God.
Well, considering I never sleep now, I think I'd go with that one.
All right, there we go. Love it.
So this game is called Clover Overload. Oh dear. And it's called Lightning Rounds. So in honor of you folks, this is a new game to Maple Fusion, Sounds of Our History. So how the game goes is I'm going to read a sentence out to you. There's 15 of them. And you have to give the fast answer. May not be a good answer, but you just have to give off the top of your head. And whoever, if you give one, Meg, then that's okay. Then we move on to the next one. If you give one, then, and we, so on. Now, if you guys are too late, Addison, you are going to do what?
I'm gonna ding the bell.
There you go, and you have to come up with it like super fast. And then if I ding my bell, you guys are like really late.
Oh,
okay?
Okay.
No pressure though. No pressure.
Alrighty.
Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, and you hit the bell after you give your answer.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That was like a ding.
Well, yeah, you are. I know normally, but
Okay.
I think it should be afterwards.
Okay.
I just think that's quirkier. Okay, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. First band you ever saw live?
Sum 41.
Guinness or whiskey?
Guinness.
Whoa! Celtic jig or punk mosh pit?
Punk mosh pit.
Song you never skip when it comes on?
Kate Bush running up that hill.
Craziest thing you've seen in the crowd at a gig?
Old lady using a yo-yo.
Okay, and now hit your thing.
Oh,
Okay, late night snack after a show, sweet or salty?
Salty.
Who's the worst at keeping track during a sound check?
Probably me.
Dream city to play in.
St. John's.
Yeah.
First instrument you ever owned.
A guitar?
One Canadian artist you'd love to collaborate with.
Alan Doyle.
Most likely to forget their gear on a gig.
Me.
I was gonna say me too.
Your walk-on song if you were flogging Molly.
Drunken Lullabies.
Okay. If Clover Overload was a drink, what would be in it?
2 shots of vodka, 1 shot of whiskey, and a great big pint of Guinness.
Yes, I was gonna say something. Excellent.
And there's our new game.
Yeah.
Clover Overload.
Ding ding.
Now we're going to go between the lines, where the music, the memories, and the meaning of the story unfolds. This is exciting. It's wonderful you guys are here to join us. We had fun in the lightning rounds. That was cool. And we're going to have to try one of those drinks. Are you bartending for us?
Yeah, bring out the bottles. I'll pour one out.
Okay. So how did Clover Overload come together? And what's the origin? What's the story of this band?
Well, why don't you go first, Alex? It's your baby.
Okay, so myself and Lindsay's our drummer, we used to work together, and we'd kind of make jokes every now and again like, hey, do you want to start a Celtic punk band? Yeah, haha. And eventually, when we stopped working together, we're like, okay, we have to keep in touch. Let's actually start the band. That was around the same time where I signed up for a fundraiser for the Lethbridge Girls Rock Camp. It was band swap. And that was where Meg and I met.
That's right.
So that fundraiser is really cool, actually, because a bunch of musicians show up, they put their names in a hat, and Silvana draws all the names, and you get put into a new band. And you have 2 weeks to come up with a new set list of like 3 or 4 songs or whatever.
Yeah, cool.
So we were in a band together, and we got along. So I asked Meg to join the band, and then it was maybe like 9 or so months after that we met Alina and Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was at a open mic night. That was at Pedal Paws and Beans. It was a lovely, lovely spot when the open mics were going there.
Very cool. That's actually where I met you.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I heard your famous song.
Jack and Finnegan.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jack and Finnegan. And
I think that's what got him.
Well, it's one of those songs that just keeps revolving in your
Yeah.
head. I have to say, I
Nice.
forgot Jack's name, but I did remember Finnegan's. And I go away
okay.
and I'm like, Finnegan, what's the other dog's name? It was an awesome song. Where did the name Clover Overload come from?
It's actually Overboard. Sorry. That was the game
What
before.
did
It was the
I say?
Overlord. Overload? Or the... We've also gotten Clover Overlords, which is funny.
Yeah.
But we also got Cloverfish Tuna one time.
Yeah, there's a lot of different variations,
Yeah.
people, and they're all fantastic. So,
Hey.
Yeah, but it was kind of like we wanted something at the time that said Celtic punk, so when you heard the name, you kind of knew what you were in for. So like Clover is the Celtic, Overboard was like, sounds like a little bit punk. We're more like Celtic rock now with like a little bit of pop punk, I think. But I think it still works. So
I think so too.
Very cool. I think so. It suits you. How has being based in Lethbridge shaped your music and your following?
Honestly, I think Lethbridge was kind of the perfect city for us to be in because there's such there really is something in the water here in this community where there's already this fantastic basis of, local musicians, very talented people. So a great place to start a band. And it also turns out that there are a lot of expats here from Eastern Canada. And so there's just a huge audience, it turns out, of people who long for home and they want to hear us sing the music that they grew up with and, makes them feel like they're back out east in a different time zone.
So where are you all from?
I'm from Medicine Hat, which is similar to Lethbridge, but if I may say so, is not nearly as fun and cool as Lethbridge, but it's a nice city. Not overly exciting, but I've been here for 14 years. I moved here in 2011 and never looked back. So,
Awesome. Awesome. And how about you, Alexandre?
I'm from St. John's, Newfoundland.
Wow.
I've been in Lethbridge for about 6 years, though, I think. Yeah, and moved out for the university, stuck around, and really happy I did.
Wonderful. What did you take at university?
Business management marketing.
Cool. So are you the marketing manager of this band?
Yes. When I have time.
Okay. And your other members, where are they from?
Yeah, so Lindsay is from Calgary, although she spent a bit of time in Scotland when she was a kid, so that's pretty cool. And Alina is originally from Russia, and then she moved to Vancouver when she was around 12, I believe. And Keely is our newest member, so I haven't actually asked her yet. I don't want to creep her out.
Oh,
where are you from?
There you go. Well, when she
We'll find
sees
out
this
soon.
podcast,
Yeah.
she'll say, she'll know, you'll know if she gets creeped out, because she'll know by then. There you go. So what drew you, I may have the answer to this, but what drew you to Celtic and punk, or changing it, as you say, up to rock? How has that evolved? Where did it start?
Yeah, for me, it started kind of when I was still living in Newfoundland. Every Sunday morning, we would have the Jigs and Reels radio show on Oz FM, and it was kind of I don't know, me and my mom dancing in the kitchen, and everyone else just hanging out too. And so that was where the love from the Celtic music came from. And then, of course, you've got influences like Great Big Sea. They like to put a fun spin onto it too. And then from there, I eventually learned about your Flogging Molly and Dropkick Murphys, and that was another level of fun. And just putting all that together is just the most fun, and you can't not dance to it. That's why I love it.
Yeah. So your personal music backgrounds, just the two of you here with us today, can you share a bit about how did you start in music?
Yeah, so my origin story starts off with Green Day's American Idiot album. That came out when I was in junior high, and so my friends and I, we were obsessed with it, and we're like, okay, one person's gonna do drums, one person's gonna learn bass, another person's gonna learn guitar. I was supposed to learn bass. However, my parents were like, are you sure you want to learn bass? Are you sure you don't want to play guitar? So I was like, yeah, I want to play guitar. So that never, the band we were supposed to make never came out, but I just had this love of just really high energy music, and honestly, started when I was 14 and haven't looked back.
And was it always in a punk, rock, or Celtic venue type music?
No, shortly after I started guitar lessons, that's when I kind of dropped out of off punk a little bit and started getting into more classic rock, more guitar virtuoso type music. Just really, I love all kinds. Any sort of style informs my guitar playing. So
very
yeah.
cool. Alexanne, how about you?
My first kind of experience playing music was pretty young, playing keyboard, surprisingly.
Wow.
We had one of those ones that you press the button and it would play the song for you, but it would show which keys they'd light up so you could follow along. So I started learning Yesterday by the Beatles and Crocodile Rock. That was fun. But then other than that, I never really picked up guitar until I was probably 19. And that was just sitting around a campfire one night, and my friends were all playing guitar, and I was like, that looks super fun. And one of them played Gin and Juice on acoustic, and I was like, wow, what a novel thing to do. I would like to do that. So then I started to play guitar.
There we go. It's interesting, the stories of where people started with music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are your families musical as well, or?
No, I've been told that there was one relative, I think a great-great-grandfather of mine, who was super good at guitar, and I guess I inherited his skills, but yeah, I don't come from I have a family that loves music. They love live music, going to concerts, all that stuff, but yeah, no one else plays an instrument except for me.
Well, maybe they can take up the Appalachian banjo.
Yes, I think that would be doable for them.
There we go. And how about you?
Yeah, so I've got two sisters. One of them does play in a band currently in St. John's, and she plays her own music. She makes her own stuff. She always does those RPM challenges every February too. They're awesome. And then my older sister, she always played trombone and stuff, and she plays bass as well. She's not in a band, but she's, has played instruments before. And then my grandmother, she would always be singing in church choir kind of style, and my aunts would always sing the hymns and stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So who has been your biggest musical influence, both individually, but then as a band?
I guess for me personally, I guess if I really think about it, my number one guitar influence would probably, I guess, be Jimi Hendrix. Just not so much like just like the playing itself, but just like the vibe. Like I very much like being the, oh, look at all my charisma. I'm so blambaloo. I can't do any of the fancy tricks. Maybe one day. But yeah, just really, tasteful, very hard rock and playing. David Gilmour is also a big one. I really like the way he approaches guitar, very melodic, very soulful.
For me, I'd probably go with Hey Rosetta, the band from St. John's, mostly because they were like really popular when I was in university the first time. So I got to see them like at the Delta Ballroom on doing their Christmas shows that they did every year. It was just magical. Like they had such an amazing live performance, like presence. And I remember one time they had like streamers hanging from the ceiling, and then at like the perfect part of the song, the streamers fell, and it was just like so magical. But it was just really memorable in that sense. But obviously their music style, I find, influences kind of what I've been writing recently too.
Very cool. And as a band?
I mean, we started off like aiming for the Celtic punk side of things, so like You're Flogging Molly. But then as we evolved, it just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like even the covers that we're picking now to choose are kind of out of left field. So honestly, it's like we kind of started off with like the Celtic starter pack, but now it's like now we've got a whole trunk of like things we want to explore and like all sorts of artists that we draw ideas from.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. Yeah. And then you're not locked into one thing.
Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. And when you decide a song, do you look at it and go, okay, so this maybe is going to lean a little bit more Celtic, maybe a little more rock, maybe a little more punk? How do you make that decision on a song if you're going to put your own vibe on it?
Yeah, it kind of depends on the energy of the song, partially of the lyrics, because I know there's at least 2 of our songs that were written specifically to be like Celtic style songs, thinking of like hurricanes and like the sea. So that one, it was like, yeah, okay, let's like make these as, Celtic as we can. Whereas People Pleaser's Anthem is more of like a pop punk kind of style. So it was less important for the fiddle to shine in that one, and it was more like just a really fun, like the drum beat kind of, yeah.
Yeah, we scream on that one.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
The gang vocals.
Yeah, gang vocals.
Sugar and facts. And now it's time for a little sugar and facts trivia treat to keep your brain dancing. So I need to ask, because you said something about the fiddle. Now, we have a trivia bit in all of our podcasts. And our trivia bit today is, when is a fiddle a violin? Oh no, when is a violin a fiddle? Well, what is the difference between a fiddle and a violin? And I understand that your violin player also plays in many different aspects and is also in the symphony. And I would think that's a violin. So if I can just give to our viewers, the fiddle and the violin are actually the same instrument. And I bet you didn't know that. I bet you thought people carried around too. But it's all about how it's played. And this is a perfect trivia bit because we're going to ask the experts about how it's played. I think a violin is actually played in concert music, and a fiddle is played in what we're seeing today. Quirky, fun Celtic music. So let's ask the experts. So, turning back to our experts, when is it a fiddle and when is it a violin?
Well, if you ask our violinist, it is always a violin. But yeah, I would say it just happens to be the context of the music. I'd say violin in a more classical context and a fiddle in a more folksy pop music context. You know, Come On Eileen, that's a fiddle. Oh. Beethoven, that's a violin.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay. But interesting. If you ask her, it's always
Always a violin.
violin. Okay. So for you viewers at home, it's always a violin. There we go. So I'd like to ask you about two of your songs. I know you've got so many and they're awesome. So we'll learn later how to tune in to your songs. But could you tell us about two of them and what your inspiration was, Alex? And I think you wrote both these, Jack and Finnegan and Hurricane.
Yeah, okay, I'll start with Jack and Finnegan then. So I have two dogs. One is Jack, one is Finnegan, and they have opposite personalities. Jack is like your typical Jack Russell. He's very scrappy, likes getting into trouble. He's like pretty tough, you know? And then there's Finnegan, who's also part Jack Russell, but I think also part like Maltese. And he is not very brave.
He's scared of flies.
Yeah, he's very scared of flies and probably everything else. But he's like so sweet and he's very cuddly too.
Aww.
And so just like complete opposite personalities in that sense. And then the song just kind of talks about that. So there's like a couple of stories in there. The first verse is about Jack, and it's about how one time he got in a fight with a Rottweiler, which was like his best friend, but still, over a piece of steak that fell, and like our friend was watching them at the time, so he had to pull Jack off of his friend Capone instead of the other way around. So that's why the line says, he got 7 stitches, but he wanted 7 more. Like, he would have kept fighting. And then with Finnegan, it was just kind of about like, he loves his Frisbee and he still kind of like eats socks and stuff, like shoes. So he's just a little pup still, kind of.
Very cool. And hopefully we'll hear some of that later.
Yeah.
Now, what about Hurricane?
Yeah, so Hurricanes is one of the ones that was written kind of intentionally to be a style for Clover Overboard and, you know, that Celtic theme. But it also draws on like knowing your roots and your family and remembering where you're from, and also just the magic of music and how music can help you make that connection between where you are, like either physically, like I'm in Lethbridge, but when I hear music like that, it makes me feel like I'm back home. So it's kind of like, yeah, music is just magic in that sense, and it just helps you remember your family.
That's awesome. And I think that takes me back, Meg, to something you said earlier about, or perhaps it was you, I'm sorry, the expats that are here and hearing the music, and that's awesome. So is that part of what that is too within Hurricanes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So hopefully we'll hear some of that too. Very cool. Now, what is your favorite gig memory?
Here, I'll go first. I guess overall, like, I don't know. Can I say 2? Is it okay if I do 2? Okay, so.
Oh, just a second. I'm going to get the buzzer out for you.
Okay. All right. First favorite memory. We played this backyard pool party, and it was really cool because like the stage was this dude's deck, and it was over the pool, and so like all of these lights just like shimmering. It's like I've never felt more like a rock star. Oh, I should jump in the pool. No, do not jump in the pool. I did not jump in the pool.
Oh, good.
So yeah.
Okay.
So that was fabulous. And then second of all, this one gig that we played, I'd never seen, like she had to be at least like 70, 75, but she was just dancing up a storm at the front of our show, and she had a yo-yo, and then she had these homemade pants that she showed me. She's like, oh, but I messed up she's like, I messed up the pockets though, look. And so yeah, it looked like she had to refashion into an apron of sorts. I don't know, I think about her all the time. I'm like, that lady with the yo-yo.
And was she playing the yo-yo?
She was doing yo-yo. She was doing roundhouse kicks.
Oh my gosh.
She was incredible. She stole the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Absolutely.
And was that here in Lethbridge?
That sure was.
Wow. And you
Yes.
haven't seen her again?
I haven't seen her again.
Oh, man.
Connections.
There we go. And how
Yes.
about you?
For me, I'd say, well, pretty much any time that we've played Jack and Finnegan. Like, I remember the very first time, though, it wasn't as a whole band yet. It was still when I was doing the open mics at Pedal Paws and Bean. And I did like the, you know, when I say this, you say that. And everyone caught on. And, like, literally everyone was in chairs right in front of me, like, Jack, Finnegan. And it, like, scared me. And then when that translated to being with the full band doing that song and then Meg doing their barking, it makes me laugh every time. But not only that, everyone in the bar is barking back at us too.
Let's hear a bark. Have you got a bark in there for us? Look at that.
Best barker in the West.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Wow. Okay, now have you ever had a show go hilariously wrong, but it turned out great?
Not the show itself, but I do remember we had a little bit of a mix-up with our, we weren't sure if our CDs were going to arrive in time for an album release, and so we had some mix-ups with whether our upcoming gig was going to be an album release party. Felt bad because we had asked somebody to make a poster when she was probably expecting us to make the poster, so just going in like feeling, oh no, I've messed everything up, everyone hates me, and it ended up being an incredible show. We played with this incredible artist, and yeah, so...
We called it the soft launch.
Soft launch,
Yeah.
exactly.
There we
Yes.
go. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is very good. And how do you seem to be as a duo in speaking with us? You seem very cohesive, and it sounds like you have lots of fun in the band. And so I guess can you confirm your whole band is probably cohesive looking at your Instagrams? How do you maintain that cohesion?
I mean, we jam on a weekly basis, but I find when we show up there, everyone just gets along. Like, we have a lot of the same interests. So
Yeah, we're there's no real like egos in the band, I would say. Everybody's just kind of there to chill and have fun. Even yesterday we were rehearsing and you took the time to say, you know what, this is what it's all about. It's just about playing, because we were working on some new covers, and yeah, I was like, I'm just having fun playing music. So yeah, I think that's the best thing, is we don't have big egos in the band. It's really just, we love having fun, we love playing music, and we love doing it together.
That's cool. And I think you hit on a big word that many people I've heard talk about in Lethbridge, in many places within Canada, is that sometimes that ego just gets in the way and spoils things, doesn't it? So that's pretty cool you guys have that. That's awesome. And you also probably have to remember to call it a violin, not a fiddle, right? Okay, those important things. Okay. So probably a silly question. And I think all our viewers can probably answer this too. Having met, especially Meg, who's the quiet one in the band? And who's the wild card? Meg?
Well,
No, just kidding.
I'm the quiet one. No, it's kidding. I don't know, maybe, would you say it's a toss-up between you and Alina, I think, would be the quiet ones. It's hard to pick.
probably Alina, but it's close.
Yeah.
And what about your wild card?
I think that's Meg.
Oh, okay. I didn't look at her on that one, but okay. So you don't fit into the quiet category, and that's okay. This is good. You need everything.
Gotta fill the silence somehow.
Absolutely.
You always need a Ringo. You need a Ringo in the band.
Do.
Yes.
And you're the Ringo.
I am the Ringo.
And the bartender.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And the barker.
Okay.
And the barker.
And so you can put that on your CV. I am an excellent barker.
Best barker in the West.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Pre-show rituals. We had talked earlier and you'd shared you might have something that you do before you go onto stage. What would that be?
Well, we like to think of something kind of fun and inspirational, but last time we had a show, I couldn't think of anything, so I was like, okay, pre-show chat or pep talk or whatever. I don't remember what we called it, but then we all put our hands in, and then I said, have fun. And then we all just said, have fun, and we all just kept saying it. Let's have fun or something. And then it just turned into a little cheer. So
Yeah.
the cheer is the consistent thing every time.
Yeah.
But there's usually at least some kind of like, all right, guys, let's have a fun show.
And then we put our hands in the middle and we do the thing, and it's, it's very cute.
Well, it sounds like there's a beat there and there's some call and response. I think there's a song in the making.
Oh.
We have talked about doing a sound check song. Maybe that can be
Yep.
a sound check song.
There we go. How do you connect with your fans, both either online, at shows, or what other ways do you connect?
I find most of it happens at shows because you get to like meet people and talk to people, whether it's after the show or like if you're on stage and you're like, sometimes you got to shield your eyes so you can actually see them. But when you actually see them, like you see they're dancing and like you can like smile at them and like just thank them for dancing and talk to them in between the sets a bit. That's pretty rewarding for sure. And then like online is usually where we find people after they've been to a show. So we like to keep in touch.
So, and I've just got to mention for our viewers too, if people haven't been on stage, when you said shielding our eyes to look down, when you're on stage, you can't see people, can you?
It's hard.
The lights are there. It's really hard to know. And it's hard when people say, oh, I was there at your show. You saw me, right? But you can't see anything, can you?
So I should start wearing a ball cap.
Ah, there we go. If Clover Overboard could open for any band, who would it be?
I think Darina Harvey, would be our number one. We love Darina Harvey. I mean, one of the big acts too, like Floggin' Molly, Dropkick Murphys, any of those guys, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
We'll see what we can arrange.
All righty.
Okay, sounds good. What is a dream venue?
If this doesn't count as a venue, I would say Glastonbury. But because that's technically a festival, then I will go. Oh, I hope I'm not butchering the name. The Royal Albert Hall. I think. Yeah. I can't remember where that is. I think it's in London, but it sounds fancy, and I know a lot of big names have played there.
I'd also say the Delta Ballroom in St. John's, just because that's where I've seen a lot of good shows, like Hey Rosetta, like I mentioned before. But then also I saw the very last show that the Wonderful Grand Band played at that.
Oh, really?
At that hotel, yeah, and it was amazing. So that'd be like pretty sentimental to play a show there.
Do you have any new releases or projects coming up in the next year?
Yeah, in the next year we are hoping to be recording a full-length album. So in June of 2025, we did put out our first EP, just 6 songs, but we've got a lot more that we play. So like if you go see us play live, we'll play some of these songs, but the rest of the songs are usually going to be originals that we can't find recorded yet. So our goal over the next year is to get everything recorded and wrapped up in a nice full-length album.
Cool. But Hurricanes, you can get that off Spotify or Apple Music, right?
Yeah, generally wherever you find your music, yeah.
Absolutely. We had that playing here earlier.
Oh, nice.
It was just one of those things that, Flogging Molly or you folks, and our videographer needed to, he's taking dance lessons. Oh. And so I thought maybe that was a new kind of music that he might want to go. And also mostly to know what it is you guys do.
That's fair.
And so we were able to find that on Apple Music and Spotify today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
So it is very cool.
Bandcamp too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. So if people were looking to find your music that's already out or find where you play, so this is a whole bunch of questions wrapped into one. What are your favorite Lethbridge places to play? But also, where will they find you in Lethbridge? Where will they find your music? And how do they get a hold of you if they want to friend you?
Mm-hmm. Well, the best answer is our website. So cloveroverboard.com, you'll find shows, you'll find our social medias, you'll find our email for bookings, you'll find our music.
Cool.
So it's all linked there, and I believe there's some videos linked there too.
There's some pictures if you want to make us your desktop background.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. And if people want to have you to a pool, well, it doesn't even have to be a pool party. It doesn't have to be a pool there, right?
Oh, we're open to that though.
Any party, they just get a hold of you through your web.
Yeah.
Cool. Very, very cool. Okay, well, it has been wonderful having Clover Overboard with us today. And don't go away because we've got something really exciting for you. They're going to bring it in, and you don't want to miss this. Bringing it in. Let's switch gears and see what our guest brought in to share about their part of history. I said don't go away, and I'm glad you didn't. Keep sitting in your chair. you are in for an amazing surprise. But first of all, we have Alexanne on guitar.
Hello.
We have Meg on.
Cajon.
So what is a cajon?
It is a little box drum that you just boom, boom, bam, 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 boom, boom. It's just really easy to play. You just sit, and it's the comfiest seat in the whole wide world.
And it sounds like there's a snare inside
There's a
there.
teeny tiny snare.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think enough talking. We need to hear. What are we going to hear?
We're going to hear Jack and Finnegan by Clover Overboard.
Woo!
Yes.
And we've always said we've been trying to get our videographer Addison to dance. So maybe if you guys could sing to him, he would dance. Okay, take it away.
All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. One of them's a jerk, but he's got his brother's back. Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. The other one's a wimp, but he's the sweetest in the pack. Well, Jack fought a Roddy when the stake hit the floor, and he got 7 stitches, but he wanted 7 more. And if you were to meet him, he would say right on your feet, or maybe go and find out where the little foxes meet. Oh, Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. One of them's a jerk, but he's got his brother's back. Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. The other one's a wimp, but he's the sweetest in the pack. Now Finn loves his frisbee more than anything around, and if you were to lose it, he would search all over town. Like the time we went over the fence, it took ages to find, and when we finally found it, we got chased by a porcupine. Oh, Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. One of them's a jerk, but he's got his brother's back. Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. The other one's a wimp, but he's the sweetest in the pack. We call him Jack, the Jackie boy, Jacariah Gordon. With some right in my boots, cause we put him in Cannibal Gordon. Finny, Finnegan, Benefit and Brandy. The east side shoes and them feels bad, but God, I wants to stand in. Till he eats them too. Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. One of them's a jerk, but he's got his brother's back. Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. The other one's a wimp, but he's the sweetest in the pack. Oh, Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. One of them's a jerk, but he's got his brother's back. Jack and Finnegan, Finnegan and Jack. The other one's a wimp, but he's the sweetest in the pack.
Whoa! Well, you got it here. Clover Overboard. So when you hear that they're playing and you're near, you need to go. This has been an amazing time. I'm Shelley Kay with Maple Fusion, Sounds of Our History, here with...
I'm Alexanne.
I'm Meg, and we're
Clover Overboard. So we gotta work on that.
Awesome. So that wraps up this episode with Clover Overboard. From their early days in Lethbridge of 2022 to their dynamic live performances and deeply personal songwriting that touches us, they've created a sound that celebrates heritage, resilience, and the energy of Celtic rock and punk. With tracks, especially of ones like Hurricane, capturing the spirit of community and personal strength, Their music continues to connect with fans across generations. I'm Shelley Kay, Maple Fusion, Sounds of Our History. We'll see you next time.
Rainbow Fusion, sounds of our history. How does music help shape